Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fizel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Central Time, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. We've been doing this for 19 years. We'll be 20 years next April. So excited about that. You can find us on the radio at iacradio.media, where we are Fox News affiliates. We are your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. You can also find us on all the social media sites, we, the whole thing. So if you're looking for truth and information, you'll find it right here. Happy to be with this gentleman today. I've heard so much about him. His name is Steve Stern, and he has a website. It's the Flag Shirt Company. And I love your shirts. Tell me about the company. How did it begin?
Well, it's called theflagshirt.com, and it's funny because I went out to lunch today, and one of the people said, "You must be a Republican because the Democrats don't, wear those kind of shirts." I said, "Well, I'm a Republican, but I'm the vice chair of the Broward Republican Executive Committee, and I own the company that makes this shirt." So this shirt was started by a gentleman in 1934, believe it or not. And I bought the company prior to 9/11, and they were just making one shirt. They were making the shirt in cotton. This is in polyester, so we have them both ways. As you see in the back of me, there's a navy shirt back there, and we make that in navy and in natural. But so many people wanted the polyester that we moved this into polyester too. So we have shirts made in the U.S. and also in India, of which they do the printing because it's hard to print in certain areas on that stuff. So there is a section made in the United States because so many people like made in the United States. So that shirt started with the one shirt, and the company was Gilman Knitwear, started in 1934. I bought the company, like I said, prior to 9/11. And when 9/11 hit, everybody became patriotic. And the funny part about it, since then, patriotism has gone down from 63% down to 34%. So we talk about that in a lot of our shows because we talk about precinct strategy and election integrity. Everything is wind into the other. And how I got involved in both will tell you. So as I was getting this shirt and as we were increasing our shirt, because we are now the largest patriotic website in the world. So from one shirt, we have zillions. And you can go to that site and see everything from scarves to shoes to umbrellas to shirts for men and women, children, babies, everything under the sun. I don't even know what we have anymore because we have buyers also that add stuff. If we find earrings or if we find anything made with the flag or with, USA, we try to make it, T-shirts, everything. So there's been many things, and I can't keep up with it anymore because it just got so big that it got out of my hands. So I gave most of the business to my son, and he has a 2 or 3 buyers that, fill in all the time because we sell people like the White House gift shop. We sell movies. We sell Broadway shows. So many different people because we're one of the few that have this type of thing. And this is the Constitution and the U.S. flag. And we started with the shirt called Benji. But we have, we try to do all different type stuff, and we try to keep changing it kind of consistently because so many people have our shirts. And then when they go to rallies, they do it. But what really started a lot of it is that I would call every customer that bought multiple shirts because, we had so many people buying shirts that I would try to call the multiples first, and I would thank them for the order. And they said, well, nobody ever calls us to thank them. I said, well, that's why I'm still in business. So if you go to www.theflagshirt.com, and I would suggest you put my email down because I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff that you're going to want to email me or call me. Now, I do answer phones. Funny thing, I get on a show called Cowboy Logic, which I did last Saturday, which is going to end next Saturday. And he always calls me on the phone to see if I'm really going to pick up the phone. So I always pick up the phone because naturally I know it. But I really don't actually pick up the phone. I wait till it comes in and it goes to my cell phone because we get so many calls and not all of them are A1A calls. So you have to be very careful. So we listen to what the message is because, as you know, the Democrats hate us and they do things that we, on phones and also otherwise that we don't know. So I will call you back. Now, we're going to talk about 2 things today, which are important. We're going to talk about precinct strategy, which is www.precinctstrategy.com, and the book that Dan Schultz wrote. Dan Schultz started Precinct Strategy 14 years ago with Steve Bannon. and we're going to talk about both of them. So Dan Schultz has this website where you can find out how to get involved in the Republican Party and why you should get involved, and what the difference is in each state, how to become a committee man and a committee woman. And if you become a committee man and committee woman, what you have to do. So by becoming a committee man and committee woman, and there is 400,000 slots. And unfortunately, 4 years ago when I started with Dan and with Steve Bannon, there was 200,000 people involved. And 4 years later, as of today, there's 200,000 people involved. Now it went up to 210, it went down to 190, but it fluctuates to the 200,000 mark. And why is that? Because people don't get involved. And this is why the country is in the shape it's in. A country goes the way the people want it to go, not the way the government does. Because if the government is functioning and the people don't complain in massive ways, they're going to do exactly what they want to do. And I'm going to tell you all the stories about what they're doing and why the people aren't stepping up. So if you become a committee man and committee woman, you attend meetings. That's the first thing. Most of the executive town committees, executive committees, all the different committees and functioning around the Republican Party in every state, every precinct, is that not everybody has a meeting every month. So you vote. Who do you vote for? Well, you can vote for candidates that are running. There may be 2 or 3, and your committee may want to vote for one and support one. You vote for your for officers. And I didn't really want to become the vice chair of the Broward Republican Committee, but the chairman, who I got elected, who trained with me on precinct strategy, was so good that he asked me to help him, and I did it. Now, of course, helping takes away a lot of time from what I want to do nationally, and I'll tell you what it is. So we sign up voters, we canvass neighborhoods, we knock on doors, we poll watch, we poll work. So let's get to the poll watchers and poll workers. That is one of the most important things that happen. And I'm going to tell you that I got a call from the RNC saying, Steve, we need help. So I called every station, every radio, TV that I know that I get on all the time. And I said, I got to get on this week and next week because we are in deep trouble with poll watchers and poll workers. So if you'd like to be a poll watcher and poll worker, and I'm going to tell you where we need them, we are now in dire shape in Wisconsin. Just to give an example, we need 5,000 poll watchers and poll workers in Wisconsin. We have 1,300. What does that tell you? That tells you that people aren't getting involved. Same problem in Michigan, not as bad in Pennsylvania, not as bad in Georgia, but we still need them. So we're talking about 4 states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, which are the swing states. And we're going to tell you about the Seth Kessel analysis of the counties that are going to make a difference in this next election. As you can see, there are 8 states, of which 4 of them I just told you about. Mm-hmm. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Georgia. We can add North Carolina, Texas, and Nevada to that. But these are the 8 states that are going to make a difference in the next election, and the counties. So in Pennsylvania, it's Allegheny, Erie, Berks, Philadelphia, Montgomery, York. And if we don't turn those counties, and we're in bad shape in some of them, and I'm going to tell you one of the stories. In Michigan, in Detroit, the Democratic Party allowed 1,500 poll watchers and poll workers for the Democrats, and they allowed 50 for the Republicans. What does that tell you? That tells you they're trying to steal the election, because if you can't see
there,
a little lopsided. So the RNC sued them. So why did they call Steve Stern to get help? Well, the first thing I did was call my friend, yournews.com. Sam Anthony helps us. He put an article out this morning, which is, yournews.com, about we need poll watchers and poll workers. I'm going to call totalnews.com in California, do the same thing, because we need to get the word out. So I called all our podcaster friends and asked them to get me on, because every person's got to be notified that if we don't get the poll watchers and poll workers, and then we don't get the people involved, you can forget about this country. I mean, it is not going to happen, because I can see this, and you could see this, that if people don't get involved, because here's the problem. Republicans rely on people to volunteer. The Democrats pay the people. They have all the tech people pumping millions and millions of dollars into it, plus the government. Biden has stole $2 trillion and has used that money, maybe it's not $2 trillion, but a lot of that money, to weaponize the government in turning out the vote. Now, I don't blame him, because, if he can get away with it, look, you get away with what you can, because the United States, unfortunately, everybody tries to get away with something. So if they're doing that, so they have the Postal Service, they got the FBI, they got the CIA, they got the Justice Department, they got everybody working for them, and we got the people of the United States. Now, we need to raise up, and we need to get this. So what happened was, you could see I was with President Trump here in the back here. That was one time.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you the story. So I visited with him back 2 days before the last election. That was one of my big visits. And we talked about getting people involved in his rallies. And he did not do that. And that's another thing that's a problem. He just waited until the last couple of months when he talked about asking people to get involved in Trump47.com. Now, here's an unfortunate thing, too. They got 20,000 people involved. Now, think about this. How many Republicans we got? We got 80 million Republicans, 60 million. We got 20,000 people involved. That's sad. That means that the people just don't want to get involved. And, they're going to let you and me do this stuff, and it's not going to happen. So one of our favorite guys, and how I got involved in a lot of stuff, was about 4 years ago, I was watching Dan Schultz on Steve Bannon. And he was talking about success stories in the Republican Party. And I called him up and I said, well, I'm in Broward County. I'm the membership director at that time. And we were getting a lot of members because they were worried about what was happening in the country. Mm-hmm. And so Steve Bannon got me on. And it's a funny thing that happened because, the first time you ever got on TV or on a podcast or any place, matter of fact, you say, well, wait a minute, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? So I got up about 3 o'clock in the morning and started writing notes, and I figured, all right, I go back to sleep about 4 o'clock, and I couldn't fall back asleep. So now I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be on at 10:15 on the program, and they hit me with Skype at 10:15, and they say I'm going to be on 10:30. Well, I'm studying everything, and I'm remembering what I got to say, and then it goes to 11 o'clock, and then they say, okay, stand by. We're going to get you on as fast as we can. Well, it turned out 11:46 I got on, and by that time I was sweating, lost 5 pounds because you're listening to everything that's going on, and you say, well, I've been sitting here for an hour and a half. Am I even going to get on? And by then I forgot everything I was going to say, so I had to go back and recoup. But anyway, I did a good job, and they texted me, say thank you. They sent me the clip, and I looked and listened to what I said, because when you get on TV, you basically don't remember really what you said. You're talking, you know what I mean? It's not. You want to hear what you said to see if you can improve next time, if you get on the next time. Well, from there, they texted me and said, we'll get you on again. And I didn't know if they would or not, but I did get on again. And about 2 weeks later, and they liked me. And as I got on, I've probably been on 100 times. Since then, I got very close to Steve Bannon and his family. And what they asked me to do 1 minute after when he went in jail, we had produced a shirt for Steve Bannon. We made thousands of them. We're ready as soon as he went to jail. We put this out, and it's called Stand with Bannon. If you'd like to get your shirt, go to standwithbannon.com. We have our own website, and you could see, let's not forget him, because he's one of our people that we listen to, and he's basically our spokesman. So from there, I started calling people and sending them their clips. Hey, I'm on Bannon. That's important. How about getting me on? Nobody really calls you. You got to make the call yourself, because I'm just a guy who doing a job that I guess God tapped me on the head and said, hey, you do it, because I'm doing a lot of work. And while I was speaking to President Trump here at this meeting 2 years ago, he endorsed 2 of my candidates. And I want to talk about one of those candidates because it's very important. Gerald Malloy in Vermont was running for Congress, and 2 days before the election, he endorsed him. And how did he endorse him? I said, President Trump, I got a friend of mine who's running for Congress. Would you endorse him? I never thought he would do it. He called his pulse to the pulse, said he's down 6 points. So he said, Steve, what do you think? I said, look, he may lose, but he's a good man, and I wanted you to look at what he's doing. And he did endorse him, and here's how it happened. He called him while I was sitting there. He didn't answer the phone. So the next day, I called Gerald, and I said, hey, President Trump called you for endorsement. Did he call you back? He said, no. I said, did you call him back? He said, no. I said, what, are you kidding me? You think the president's going to call you?
Grab it, call him.
All right, get him on the phone, and he endorsed him. So I thought that was pretty funny. So now he's running for Senate. He didn't win, but he's running for Senate against Bernie Sanders. So we're asking everybody to get him on, because Bernie Sanders is the worst left-leaning guy that we could possibly have. And he's also a little bit older. Not that I'm older, but we got to get him out of the Senate, because he's an independent that swings so far to the left that he just laughs at what the vice president is even saying, because he's off the chart. So anything we can do to help, please do that. I've texted, emailed all my friends to get them on, and they're starting to get them on one at a time. And Stacey Malloy, who's his wife, works with me in Vermont and gets me all the people. And she's one of our people that people don't hear about, because most of the people I work with never get on TV. They work in the background. They're not, not that they're not stars, but they just don't have the access to all these, particular things. So while I was with President Trump, we talked about, he asked me what I thought about the 2024 election at that time. And I said, well, I don't think it's changed as far as election integrity. He says, I agree with you. And I know you're doing a precinct strategy Zoom meeting. Why don't you do a Zoom meeting and move them together? Because he actually endorsed precinct strategy. Liz Harrington got him to endorse it. We had a conference with Liz Harrington, Steve Bannon, myself, and Dan Schultz. And about 3 weeks later, he endorsed precinct strategy. We put it up. And one of the times when Liz was watching, I guess, she called President Trump, told him to watch me on the program, or somehow we found out. And a very nice thing happened. For my 81st birthday, I'm 83. I've been in business 70 years. He sent me a beautiful letter, and I want to read that letter to you and show it to your people. So
let's go ahead and cut to a commercial break. And then we'll be right when we get back, okay? We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon. This is Donna. Thank you so much for Donna's Edge. Steve Stern with us right now.
So I want to read this beautiful letter I got for my 81st birthday. It says, Dear Steve, we join your family and friends in wishing you a happy 81st birthday. Our nation is strong because of hardworking patriots like you who believe in and defend the great American ideals of faith, family, community, and country first. Your commitment to excellence and dedication to exemplifying the American dream through ingenuity, hard work, and principled leadership is the foundation of your tremendous success and demonstrates the proud spirit of family-owned and operated business. As you celebrate this special day, we hope your heart is filled with joy knowing you have experienced our country's greatest blessings, freedom, and the affection of your loved ones. Melanie and I send you the very best wishes for your continued health, happiness, success. Happy birthday, and may God bless you and your friend, Donald J. Trump. So this in itself is my reward, for everything. And this is actually the letter I made a copy of, but this is the actual letter, and you could see that. And everybody who's listening, I got to tell you, if you'd like to send President Trump a letter, I sent him another one a couple weeks ago. He returned it. We invited him to our Gulfstream Racetrack fundraiser for the Broward Republican Executive Committee. Sent me a nice letter and also said nice things. And this on Saturday, the 21st, which has already happened, we're going to have we had 300 people at a fundraiser. Senator Scott, Roger Stone, Dave Walsh all spoke. A lot of people spoke. So it was fantastic. And one of the most important things, I want everybody again to take down my email, because what I'm going to tell you now is the most important thing that you're going to hear from me today. stern1054@gmail.com. Because when I spoke to President Trump and talked about the election integrity, he said, why don't you start an election integrity Zoom with your precinct strategy Zoom? So I said to myself, well, I don't know too much about election integrity at that point. I mean, I knew that they cheated on the election, but I didn't really know all the players. So I immediately called all my friends in all the states, asked them who the players, and 3 weeks later, I started my first election security meeting. We had 50 people on the first one. I sent out 1,000 texts, emails, etc., because people just don't show up. You've got to really communicate. So you learn something every day. As an 83-year-old guy, if you don't learn something every day, God gives you so many years in this world, and you must learn something every day. So about 4 months ago, I was on Steve Bannon on the day of our election security call. And I was talking about it, and an unusual thing happens, because he usually gives me 4 or 5 minutes, because it's a packed show and they want to get a lot of people on. He gave me about 8 or 9 minutes, which, was unusual because I only prepared for 4. So we were talking about the election security meeting, and I did something different. I put my email on the bottom of the screen. So because when you hold this up, people see it, but they don't always remember your email. But on the bottom of the screen, through your talking, they see it. So we got 1,000 people that signed up that day, and it took me 6 hours to be able to put all these people and get them a link to the Zoom meeting. So, but he said something even more important. He said, Steve, we're going to put this live on our Get a feed. Well, we got 28,000 people on the Zoom meeting. So that told me something right there. That told me we can get a lot of people in the United States to watch. So what I did, and that's how I met you, we started calling all the podcasters, and I met 3 or 4 of them at one of the Charlie Kirk events up in Palm Beach. And so our last one we had a couple of weeks ago, we had 155,000 people live that we know about. It could be more, but not everybody has reported in how many people they've got on. And some of the people, we don't know how many people they get on because they don't get the numbers. So we don't know what we could have had. But we're going to have another Zoom meeting, and I want everybody to take this. The Zoom meeting is going to be Wednesday, October 25th at 2 o'clock Eastern time. So I'll repeat that. Wednesday, 2 o'clock. We ask everybody to go on at 1:50 because it takes a lot of time to get on. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be at 1:50 Eastern time. Remember Eastern time, because a lot of people text me and email me, oh, is it on yet? And if you send me an email at stern1054@gmail, I'll send you a link. Or if you want, you can get on by going to Stern American Rumble. We're asking everybody to sign up to Stern American Rumble because there's a lot of stuff. I have my own Zoom calls, and we also have interviews on Stern American. And of course, the next 2 weeks and through the election probably won't be interviewing a lot of people because we're trying to help President Trump. But I've interviewed many candidates, learned a lot. So if you go to Stern American Rumble and sign up, or you can watch this live starting at 2 o'clock Wednesday. So you don't have to sign up, you can watch it live. But we tell people to sign up because then in the chat, they can ask a lot of our people what's going on. And who we're going to have on this thing is very important. I'm going to explain to you. We've had all the top people in the country on our Zoom meeting that want to come on to speak. And I always accept everybody. I do research about them. And we've had Cleta Mitchell on, Jovan Pulitzer, on and on. But this time we're going to have Kerry Kalasco. Kerry Kalasco works with Cleta Mitchell. She's been on. And this past week has been only citizens vote. And we're going to talk a little bit about that a little later. But there is a problem with illegal aliens trying to vote through their proxies of the NGOs, which stand for non-government organizations. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have Deb Monks on. Deb is going to tell you how to use the public records to reconcile election results, because there's so many different things that they can cheat on. Is crazy. And Vandersteel is going to come on. She's very strong with us, helped me with a lot of podcasters. She's going to be talking about the border, how the people are coming in. And the UN force. Maybe a lot of people don't realize that if you watch who's coming in, there's a lot of fighting age men. These are the Democratic UN force that they're training to be able to help them if there's any kind of, riots or anything that's going on if they can't do that. So they're going to be stationed all over. They're training now in Panama as well as they're training in the United States. We're going to have Kim Yater on. She's going to be talking about the border and how we can power up back the people to take back the country. And then Dr. Franks, who's going to be talking about cleaning the voter rolls. Jeff Bongiorno, as we can talk about the non-citizen voting and how we're going to stop it. Christina Bauserman, who's the producer for John Fredericks. Both of them will be on. John Fredericks will be our special guest. He's on Real America Voice at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll be on there tomorrow at 7:45, Tuesday, right before the event. And we got to get up early for that one. And he's also got a radio show in many, many cities and is really conservative. So Christine's going to be talking about how to win the election, and John's going to be talking about how his show is going to be influencing people on getting out to vote, because we're talking about two ways to get out to vote: vote early or vote late, vote election day. Everybody's got something on it. I just say vote. I don't want to get into the middle of that, but that's the way it is. Then Mike Davis, who's on many, many programs, he's going to be talking about Action 3 is Project 3P. .org, where he's getting people involved. We're going to have a very important person on, Johnny Vieira, and I want to put this up for your people because it's very important. This is his app, votifynow.org. That's an app you get on your phone through Apple. When you go to the polls, if you see something unusual and you want to report it, you go in there. I've been working it for 2 years. He has millions of people on this. Free. Go to votifynow.org. You can check it all out. He tells you everything that he's got on this particular thing. Very important.
You mentioned Apple. Is there anything for Android phones?
I don't think it's on Android. I really don't know, because we only talk about Apple normally. But if you go to votifynow.org on your computer, you can check it out. You can also get on your computer, and it'll tell you whether you can get on Androids or not. Then we're going to have Todd Callender on. He has CloutHub. CloutHub's like Facebook, and it's building up in conservative group. He had 18,000 people on. Then we're going to have Greg Stenstrom on, who's got lawsuits. And then we're going to have Chris Gleason, who's going to be talking about voter by mail. Those are most of the people going to be on. I'm not sure how much time we got left, so give me a little bit.
This is the end of the show, but can you hang around for 30 more minutes, or do you have to leave?
No, today I can't do that. I lose my voice after 30 minutes, so let's just talk about a couple of people helping us if we got a couple of minutes.
We've got about 1 minute.
All right, so let's talk about Tina Saline in California. She's helping me big time. Jill Howell in Alabama. Joe Welch, who's got the 5-star plan, got 1,000 people involved in Texas. Robert West, the 5-star plan. David Penn, Minnesota. Alan Myers in Rhode Island. And the most important guy that I always talk about is in Connecticut. He's 20 years old, Dominic Lombardi. He's a chairman, the youngest chairman around. He's had dinner with President Trump, real hard worker. So that's pretty much it. I always say action, action, action. Give me any last questions and we'll wrap it up.
Well, we're going to have to wrap it up right now. Thank you so much for all of the information. It was jam-packed. I appreciate you. Okay, you're doing a great thing for America. And thank you so much for watching Donna's Edge on IC Radio. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. We'll see you later.